So how's it going, guys?
Good, sir.
Good. Practicing any questions on counting?
So I tried to finish the assignment, but did not.
Which one?
The first assignment, I started it and then I couldn't solve the question, so
What was the issue?
I don't know, maybe brain jam.
तो थोड़ा टाइम दे के उसको फिर से स्टार्ट करना था.
Yes, I'll start it again today.
ठीक है. So what have we discussed till now? Can somebody give me a synopsis?
FPC and predefined structures.
FPC and predefined structures primarily. What does FPC say? You could club the counting in a certain manner because you need a structure. Step one, structure. Once you have a structure, you could provide it steps, and using those steps, you could either go with FPC or with predefined structures in order to find the answer. The FPC basically tells you that if either of A or B are to be done, then there is an addition going on. If both A and B are to be done, then you'll have to multiply the possibilities because there's a web or a tree structure that gets created. What are the 4 types of predefined structures?
N factorial, NCR, NPR,
N
to the power R.
And n to the power r. When do we use n factorial?
So when digits are not to be repeated, we cannot repeat the
Digits
digits.
is a very specific example.
And
When do we
different
in
things at
general,
n different places.
when
Yeah,
you have
sir.
n different things to be placed at n different places, is n factorial. If r of those things are not different, then you divide it by r factorial. If r of those things are not relevant in arrangement, you divide by r factorial. So in general, we basically learned n factorial and you remove the arrangements by finding r factorial and dividing n factorial by it. Sometimes n minus r factorial is also not important in arrangements, so that we remove it. When do we use n power r?
So when there are R arrangements for when there are n options each for R number of R different places.
पढ़ के बोल रहा है but ठीक है.
Yes, sir.
n different options individually available for r places. So you have n option for first place, n option for second place, n option for third place, and then you multiply them r times. That's n power r. All good. So we discussed about how to create or solve the first level questions with respect to both FPC and predefined structures, right? Right? What was the thing that was common between these two methods? What was the commonality?
Structure.
Structure. That led to steps we need to follow. So every question of counting / PnC can be solved if you have a proper structure and a step-by-step solution to achieve that structure. Clear? We've majorly till now talked only about linear arrangements of people, right? There's a starting point and there's an end point. If people are to be arranged in a line, there's a front person and there's a last person. Today we'll talk about if those people were not being arranged in a line, rather in a circle. Does somebody know how to answer that question? Take a guess. If three people are to be arranged in a circle, in how many ways can they be arranged? If this were a question of linear arrangements, okay, three people standing in a line, what would have been the answer? Three people in a line. In how many ways?
9.
3 factorial.
3 factorial. N people in different places. 3 factorial. This is 6 ways. ABC, ACB, BAC, BCA, CAB, CBA. 6 ways. If they were to be arranged in a circle, is that any different from how we were arranging them in a linear fashion? Why is there a difference?
उसमें सर ए बी सी और सी बी ए सेम हो जाएगी
क्यों?
थ्रू सर्कल में है ना तो ए और बी तो मिल ही रहे हैं कैसे मर्जी बैठ जाओ
So the difference between a line and a circle is that a line has a starting point and an end point, whereas a circle does not have that. So in a circle, the thing that is important is their relative positioning. If A, B, and C are sitting, then I can say A is sitting to the left of B, who is sitting to the left of C, and who is sitting to the left of A. If I rearrange this in a manner which is BCA, then I can say B is sitting to the left of C, who is sitting to the left of A, and A is sitting to the left of B. Let's see how it looks. A, B, and C are sitting in this manner. Okay. Instead, I change the places. So this is not A. Let's say this is B. This is not B, this is C. This is not C, this is A. According to linear arrangements, I have changed their position. Right? A is not sitting on the, if I call this the first chair, then A is now sitting on the third chair instead of the first chair. There's a difference. But if you look at only this circle properly, you would see that basically if A was sitting to the left of B, let me draw that. A was sitting to the left of B, B was sitting to the left of C, and C was sitting to the left of A. That was the combination in case of blue colored arrangement. Yes. And in case of the green colored arrangement, I can say that B is actually to the left of A, C to the left of B, and C to the left of A. Do you agree? If you see the arrow directions, it goes from B to A to C to B, B to A, C to B, C to A. Similarly, it goes in the green one. These two arrangements are not different from each other, guys. Why? If you are viewing it from the top of the table, you would see that A, B के left में बैठा है in the blue arrangement. In green, A फिर B के left में बैठा है. Are you able to see that? B ब्लू में C के लेफ्ट में है और ग्रीन में भी C के लेफ्ट में है, और A ब्लू में C के लेफ्ट में है और ग्रीन में भी C के लेफ्ट में है. So the relative positions, their positions with respect to each other are the same. They have not changed. The relative positions have not changed. And that becomes important when we are talking about an arrangement that is not linear. So guys, please keep your videos on. It's compulsory. We basically club them in the study of non-linear arrangements, the arrangements that are not in a line. They could be in a circle, they could be in a triangle, they could be in a square, and so on and so forth. All of these arrangements are not in a line. Clear? So the formulas that we've learned in predefined structures do not apply to these situations. Clear? But the FPC will definitely apply to this. Let's talk about the circular table. There are 3 people who are sitting on a circular table. In how many ways do you think they can sit?
Sir, 2.
Maybe. Why do you say 2?
सर एक तो आप ABC बैठा तो फिर उसका बस मिरर इमेज,
What is mirror image?
मतलब A को आप स्टेशनरी रखो, BC को उल्टा कर दो.
Okay. So the thing is, it depends on how many chairs there are. If you have 3 people sitting on a circular table and 3 chairs, it would have been 3 factorial in case of linear way. But if there were 3 people and 5 chairs, in that case, the answer would have been? The answer
3
would have been
factorial by 2 factorial.
5 factorial by
Sorry, 3 factorial. 2 factorial.
factorial, 2 factorial. Both. Because the arrangement of the remaining 2 chairs does not matter, first of all, because those chairs are going to be empty. But the arrangement of the other 3 players matters. In that case, the answer will be 5 factorial by 2 factorial in case of a linear arrangement. Right? So it is important to know how many chairs there are in an arrangement. So let's say I have 3 chairs and 3 people. In how many ways can these people be seated? Anubhav says 2 ways. What do you guys think? Well, they could be seated in this fashion. ABC, दिख रहा है? A के राइट में B, B के राइट में C और C के राइट में A. Or I could have A, B, C in this manner where A के राइट में B, B के राइट में C और C के राइट में A. Can I say their relative positions with respect to each other are actually the same? I have not resulted in the new way of arrangement. Yes or no? I need your feedback constantly, guys. Keep yourself unmuted.
Yes, sir.
Yes, which means same arrangement because it is relative positioning that is important. Here B is always to the right of A, who in turn is always to the right of C. So the relative arrangement is the same. If you see it from the top, if you take a photograph from the top, you will always have A to the left of B and B to the left of C, right? Which means they are not in a new arrangement. Rather, they have just exchanged one seat towards the left, right? The arrangement is the same. Even this arrangement is the same. If A is here, B is here, C is here, because their relative positioning is the same. Does that make sense?
So can you please repeat that? I did not understand.
The thing is
Position.
that if A is to the right, sorry, A is to the right of C, C is to the right of B, and B is to the right of A, it's the same thing that is happening in all of these different scenarios. These scenarios would have been different in a linear fashion. If I had A, then B, then C, versus B, then C, then A, versus C, then B, then A and B, these would have been different if they were to be seated in a linear fashion. Because there was a leftmost position and a rightmost position, start and an endpoint. But in this circular way, when they're sitting, there is no start or end point. And hence ABC is the same as BCA, which is the same as CAB. Does that make sense, Pooja?
So what if we only change the position of B and C? So then,
That will be a new arrangement.
yeah.
That will be a new arrangement.
So yeah, there are two ways then, at least.
Of course, there are. The idea is that if I move with the linear fashion, if I say that there are 3 factorial ways, because there were 3 people and 3 seats, it has to be 3 factorial. According to our predefined structure and factorial, it has to be 3 factorial. But as I can see, these 3 ways are same. If I take ABC as one of the options, which means I'll have to remove these 3 cases. How will I remove 3 cases? When I divide by 3. So I have to divide 3 factorial, which should have been the linear case, by 3 to find the answer in the circular case, which will basically be 2 factorial, right? Right? So can you tell me, if there are 4 people sitting on a circular table with 4 chairs, in how many ways can they be seated?
4 factorial by 4.
4 factorial by 4. That's the right answer. Why? Because A, B, C, D, and then start with B, C, D, and A, or C, D, A, and B, or D, A, B, and C. All these 4 cases will be the same if you take any one of the scenarios. So if you take the other scenarios, similarly, you will have 4 repetitions, and you'll have to remove them by dividing by 4. Are we clear? The alternate way of looking at it is that I could fix one person. A is not moving. If I'm fixing one person, I'm basically creating an anchor. I'm saying that there's a starting point, which itself is an ending point because this is a circle. So I am right now fixing a starting / ending point, and I'm saying A is going to be here. Baki sabko hilate raho. All the rearrangements will bring me a new arrangement. So now, in how many ways can I shuffle these remaining 3 people in 3 different places?
3 factorial.
Well, that is 3 factorial, and people in different places. So the answer is 3 factorial. So even if you go by 4 factorial by 4, that will give you 3 factorial. Or if you fix one person, that will also give you 3 factorial. Are we clear with this? How about 4 people in 5 chairs?
Four factorial.
So think about this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and empty is one way. Then B, C, D, B, C, D, B, C, D, E, A, and empty. That's the other way. Or C, D, E, A, B, and C.
Sir,
All
4
of
people,
these
5
are
seater, no?
basically- Oh, my bad. Right. All of these are basically arranged is a new alteration if it had been a linear fashion. But now this would have to be divided by 5. Agreed? So in linear fashion, the answer would have been 5 factorial for all these 5 people. But I'm not concerned about the arrangement of the one empty chair. Can I say this will be the answer? This final answer has to be divided by 5 now, because all these 5 arrangements, I'll write these down: D, A, B, C, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D, dash. All these 5 arrangements would essentially mean the same arrangement in case of circular arrangement. And hence I'll have to divide my linear answer by 5. Clear?
So here then the empty chairs are starting ending point and बाकी को हम permute कर रहे हैं. Is that so?
Say that again.
I think here the empty chair is like a starting end point which we have anchored और बाकी को हम permute कर रहे हैं. Is that so?
So for yes, that is the other methodology, that you anchor using one person fixed on a chair. In that case, A is fixed, right? The rest are to be arranged: B, C, D dash, C, D dash, B, C, D dash, B. What else? बहुत सारे आ जाएंगे यहाँ पे, right? In how many ways can 4 different chairs be arranged in 4 different ways? 4 factorial. And that shall be the answer when you are fixing one person. So if you are fixing one person, it works in the same way as a linear arrangement. But if you're going from a linear to a circular one, in that case, you would have to find the linear answer, which is this, and divide it by the number of unique places. Answer in linear divided by unique places. Else, if you're anchoring one person, fix one person and arrange the remaining n minus 1 in n minus 1 factorial ways. So there are basically 2 ways of finding an answer to this question. Are we clear? Clear?
So if there is 5 chairs and 1 chair is fixed, then the answer will be 4 factorial.
Repeat the question.
So if there is 5 chairs and
There
one
are-
chair, there are 5 chairs and one chair is fixed. So
What do you mean by fixed?
A is sitting there, like A is permanent in that chair. So and the other chairs.
So that is only a methodology of finding an answer. Okay, that's not the question. The question could be that there are 5 chairs and there are 2 people to be seated. In how many ways can they be seated? That is the question. Fixing a chair is a methodology of finding the count in the number of ways that they can sit. That's an answer to the question. That's not the question itself. So if I have 5 chairs and I have 3 people to be seated, if those chairs were in linear fashion, the answer would have been 5 factorial for the 5 chairs divided by 2 factorial, because
Factorial.
empty chairs do not matter. That's the
Yes,
answer.
sir. Yes.
Now, in this case, you will have to further divide this answer by 5. Because you will say the first person can sit in either of those 5 different chairs.
Okay.
One scenario. The other scenario is you fix one person. Out of those 5 chairs, the first chair has gotten to A. A is fixed. Now I have 4 chairs. Those 4 chairs are to be filled with one person. In
Yes.
how many ways can I do that? 4 factorial divided by 3 factorial. Because the arrangement of the 3 empty chairs does not matter.
Yes.
4 ways. 4 ways. ठीक है? First scenario में कितना होता था? 5 factorial by 3 factorial, which was 5 into 4. And if I divide this by 5, I'll get again 4 ways. So there are 2 ways of solving any circular motion factor. Either you go and find the answer in a linear fashion and convert it to the circular one, or you fix one person and find the answer in a linear fashion. दोनों तरीके हैं. Now, we could talk about other non-linear arrangements, which could be in a square or a triangle and so on. But usko we'll keep it in the advanced section. We're not talking about it right now. But there are a couple of questions which we can definitely discuss. And let me see if I can find those. Yes. There we go. There is a question in front of you. Think about this. Take your time. Tell me an answer.
ये असाइनमेंट का असली लिखा है.
Okay, I've gotten a couple of answers. How do you solve it? Riya? Riya, send me the first answer. But keep your videos on, guys. Keep your videos on.
Sir, I messaged you. And sir, in the question, first box, we have 4 options. Then in the second box, we have 3 options of balls. And then in the third box, we have 2 options. So according to that, we'll be having 4 into 3 into 2 options.
Because you have to fill up all the boxes.
Yeah.
So that's the right approach. You can fill the boxes. The first box can be filled in 4 different ways. Once that box is filled, I can fill the second box in 3 different remaining ways. The third box can be filled in 2 different remaining ways. The answer is 4 times 3 times 2, 24 ways. Alternatively, you could put the balls. The first ball, the red ball, could go in either of these three boxes, or it could be outside. It has four options. The second blue ball could go either on these three options, or it could be outside, but one of them has been filled, so there are only three remaining options. The third ball can go in two remaining options, and the fourth ball can go in one remaining option. So 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, that also gives you the same answer, right? Finally, you could use a predefined structure approach. What could you say? That I'm arranging the 4 balls in 4 different ways. Why? Okay, let me kind of write this down. Box 1, box 2, box 3, empty. So I can arrange ball 1, let's call it B1, B2, B3, and B4. In how many ways can these balls be arranged? 4 factorial ways, out of which I am not concerned about the arrangement of the empty ball. So I'll remove that arrangement, and that should be the answer. Make sense?
सर
हाँ जी.
सर वो मैंने एक वैसे ट्राई किया था, अगर ऐसे हो सकता है तो
अभी बात करता हूँ मैं. एक दूसरा तरीका है, I can choose the ball which is in neither boxes. In how many ways can I choose that ball? 4 ways. उन चारों में से कोई भी एक ऐसी बॉल हो सकती है जो किसी बॉक्स में नहीं है. The remaining 3 balls will be in either of the 3 boxes, and their arrangement will be in how many ways? 3 boxes and 3 balls, 3 factorial. So the answer will be 4 into 3 factorial, which will also come to the same answer. Are you getting that there are multiple ways of finding an answer to a question? हाँ, अब बोलो क्या थॉट थी?
सर अगर आप जैसे एक बॉल को आप चूज कर दो कि मैं इस बॉल को नहीं रख रहा किसी भी बॉक्स में, तो जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल मैंने येलो चूज कर दी कि इसको मैं नहीं रख रहा, तो सर 3 बॉक्सेस है हमारे पास, B1 B2 B3, तो इसमें हम जैसे B1 में रेड रखा, B2 में ब्लू रखा, B3 में ग्रीन रखा, ऐसे अगर केसेस बनाएंगे तो फिर एक का 9 केसेस आएंगे.
6 आएंगे.
सर 9 आएंगे ना.
6
जैसे
आएंगे.
B1R, B2B and B3G, then B1G, B2R, B3B,
हाँ.
then B1B, B2G and B3R.
फिर से R B G है एक, फिर
सर B1R,
हाँ.
B2B and B3G
हाँ.
केस हो गया. फिर B1G, B2R, B3B ये दूसरा
हाँ.
केस हो गया. और सर B1B, B2G and B3R ये थर्ड केस हो गया.
हाँ.
सर टोटल आपके, अच्छा नहीं सर ये तो 3 हो गए. ओके
3 हुए.
हाँ हाँ
और भी हैं. R G B, इसके बारे में बात नहीं की तुमने,
हाँ सर सॉरी मिस्टेक
है ना? और G B R
हाँ सर.
और B R G कितने हुए?
सर
6 केसेस. ये 6 केसेस तब हैं जब येलो को चूज नहीं किया किसी बॉक्स में.
हाँ सर.
करेक्ट. ऐसे ही 6 केसेस होंगे जब हम ग्रीन को नहीं चूज करेंगे.
यस सर वो into 4
सेम 6 केसेस द ब्लू को नहीं, और सेम 6 केसेस व्हेन रेड को नहीं. तो all these 6 cases will get multiplied with 4 different ways depending on which ball you are choosing to be in the neither boxes. So there are 4 ways, and these 6 ways are nothing but 3 factorial. So 4 into 3 factorial वही आंसर आ रहा है. ठीक है. Try the next one. Think about it. आराम से send me the answers in the private chat. the idea is that all balls have to be in a box, which means that empty ball which is outside needs to be in one of the box. Agreed? So either what you can do is you can say that I'll choose the box with 2 balls, fill that box with 2 balls, and arrange the remaining balls. Can I say that? This is a step-by-step process. In how many ways can I choose the box with 2 balls? 3 ways. I have 3 boxes. So choosing the box is 3 ways. Once I have chosen the box, in how many ways can I fill that box with 2 balls? From the 4, I can choose any of the 2 balls, 4C2. And how can I arrange the remaining balls? In 2 factorial ways. There are 2 remaining balls can be arranged in 2 factorial ways. So if you multiply all these values, 3, 4C2 and 2 factorial, you'll get the answer. 3, 4, C2 into 2 factorial. That is 3 times 4 into 3, 9 4 0, 36. Okay. Alternatively, what you could have done is fill the boxes. Fill the boxes. The first box can be filled in how many ways? In how many ways can the first box be filled?
4.
4 ways.
There are 2 options. Either there is 4 ways, or you can say I can put any of the 2 balls. Why is there a difference? Because if I put 1 ball, there are 4 ways. If I put 2 balls, there are 4C2 ways. So a differentiation ho jata hai using FPC. If I've put in only 1 ball, in the second box, it could either be 1 ball out of the 3 balls or 2 balls out of these 3 balls. But if you've put in 2 balls out of the 3 balls in the first box, there are only 2 remaining ways, and finally 1 remaining way for the last box. ठीक है? तो ये पूरा FPC चलने वाला है. Finally, if you put the balls then the first ball can go in which box? Either of the 4 boxes. The second ball can go in either of the 4 boxes. Either it can go in the 1 repeated box, or it can go in a new box in 3 different ways. Sorry.
सर बॉक्स तो 3 है.
My bad. 3 boxes in 2 different ways. तो ये भी पूरा एक अपना FPC चलने वाला है. Do you agree? All of these will definitely yield you the same answer. But there are multiple ways of doing this. Clear with this? Next question that I'll leave to you is, if no box is empty and no ball is left out, that is what you got to try. Okay? That is your homework. लिख लो, then I'll move ahead. देख लिया? Done? चलें आगे. Okay. Try this question. How will you solve it? Any thoughts?
Sir, balls identical.
Say that again.
Sir, balls identical है.
हाँ, 5 black balls are identical है, 7 white balls are identical है. नहीं भी होती तो क्या होता, मतलब इट्स द सेम आइडिया. थोड़ा सा एडजस्टमेंट वुड बी रिक्वायर्ड अगर वो आइडेंटिकल है या नहीं, बट मेन आइडिया क्या होता, हाउ वुड यू स्टार्ट अप्रोचिंग द क्वेश्चन, दैट्स माय मेन आइडिया. Any thoughts? देखो, 5 black, white 7. कोई भी ब्लैक बॉल साथ में नहीं होनी चाहिए, यही ना कहानी. So what we'll do is, you have 7 white balls. I have only given option of something to be placed in the dashes. मतलब ब्लैक बॉल इन्हीं डैश में से कहीं पे फिट होगी. अग्रीड. और किसी भी डैश में फिट हो, फॉर एग्जांपल इसमें हो गई एक ब्लैक बॉल, इसमें हो गई एक ब्लैक बॉल, 1 2 3 ब्लैक बॉल्स, 4 ब्लैक बॉल्स एंड 5 ब्लैक बॉल्स. इस केस में is there any black ball who is with another black ball? No. Which means if I am filling these spaces, then I am ensuring that even if these places are filled with all black balls, they will never be together. Agreed? How many places are there? 8 places. Among these 8 places, I have to choose 5 for the black balls to be arranged. So the answer is 8, choose 5, 8C5. Or I could say that there are 8 ways which can be arranged in 5 factorial ways, out of which only 5 will be filled by black boxes. So I will remove the arrangement of 3 of those empty cells. Once I do that, I also know that all the 5 black balls are identical and their arrangement within themselves would not matter. So I will remove that by dividing the original answer by 5 factorial and get the same answer as 8C5, the same answer. Are we clear? Stop sharing. That concludes our conversation regarding counting. Okay. Now we are going to move on to the next topic, which is probability. Why do we discuss it together? Because probability is also very related to counting. What is probability? Guys, what do you mean by the word probability?
The likelihood of something happening.
Chance.
Chances.
Chance of an event to occur.
The probability is yes, with respect to an event. But probability by itself is defined as, you can say it's a chance of an occurrence. You can say it tells you about the number of ways in which it can occur, the percentage of occurrence, right? It's basically a number between 0 and 1, including 0 and 1. If a probability of something happening, for example, the probability of today being 22nd February. What is the probability of today being 22nd February? 0. It cannot be. It's 23rd February. Which means probability of today being 22nd Feb is 0. It is called basically an event that can never happen, right? If I say, what is the probability of today being 23rd February? Well, it is definitely 23rd February. The probability of it being 23rd February is 100% chance that it is 23rd February. So it is a sure or a certain event that it will happen. Clear? It's only in case of doubtful events. For example, what is the probability that it will rain today? Then you will have percentage, right? 20% probability, 30% probability, 40% probability, 60% probability. A probability is basically in percentage, or you can say in decimals, right? 60% is nothing but 0.6. You can't say there is minus 20%, right? There's nothing like minus probability. A probability will definitely be a number between 0 and 1, including 0 and 1. 0 being a definitely not happening event and 1 being definitely happening event. What are events? What is an event? 2-3 बार बोल चुका हूं event के बारे में. Yeah, it can be a situation. It's basically a part of an experiment. Let's define an experiment. an experiment is something that you do. For example, rolling a die or maybe tossing a coin. If you toss a coin, your answer might either be a head or a tail. If you roll a die, your answer might be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. These options that you get when you engage in an experiment is called the sample space. ये definition is बहुत important है. First definition is experiment. लिख लो experiment. Second, sample space. Third, event. Fourth, probability. Fifth, sure event / certain event. Sixth, never happening event. Seventh, mutually exclusive events. Seventh, collectively exhaustive events.
So what is the last one you said?
Collectively exhaustive. Next.
What was the third one?
Next, मैं बताता हूँ. Next, independent events. तो कौन से बोले बता सकता है किसको किसने कौन सा नहीं लिखा? मे बी अनुभव कैन टेल यू. लिखिए सारे अनुभव.
ये सर म्यूचुअली वाला बता दे एक बार.
म्यूचुअली एक्सक्लूसिव.
So collectively वो वाला फिर से.
Exhaustive.
सर वो exhausted है या exhaustive है?
I can't hear you properly. Say that again.
That is exhausted or exhaustive? What to do?
Exhaustive. TIVE.
So the third one.
Third is only event.
Thank you.
I'll go again. मुझे लग रहा है कुछ तुमने गलत लिख लिया. पहला was experiment. Event. Third,
Sample space. So third was event, second was sample space.
sample space. Next,
Probability.
Hmm.
Your event or / certain event. Never happening event. Mutually exclusive event. So collectively exhaustive event. Independent event.
बस और कुछ? Okay. So what is an experiment? Something you do. Rolling a die, tossing a coin, and so on. What is sample space?
So the possible
Possibility.
outcome.
The possible outcome, yes. So whatever you do, what are the possible outcomes? In case of tossing a coin, you could either have head or tails. That's a sample space, right? In case of rolling a die, you could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. That's the sample space. What's an event?
So the samples, the outcome we want to have.
A part of the sample space. For example, you could say odd number. Odd number when rolling a die. So you have to define the experiment also. Odd number when rolling a die. So what is this? What is the event? 1, 3, 5, and that's all. Make sense? Even number will be 2, 4, 6. A number divisible by 3 will be 3 and 6. So event can be of multiple types. Clear? Clear? The probability is always the probability of an event. And it is defined as number of ways of getting an event occurred upon sample space. For example, what is the probability of getting an odd number? There are 3 options in the event, but 6 options in the sample space. So the probability will be 3 by 6. Clear? Next, a sure or a certain event is when the probability of the event is what? 1. A never happening event is when the probability of the event is what?
0.
0. Mutually exclusive events are events that have nothing in common. Example, odd number is one event and even number is the other event. Can I say there's nothing in common? Nothing in common with the odd and even, right? What are collectively exhaustive events? Events that together complete the sample space, which means if I add the odd and the even events, I will get the total sample space. Yes. So if we add them together, I will get everything in the sample space. So they are collectively exhaustive. Then there are certain mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive events. जैसे odd and even. कुछ लोग ऐसे होते हैं which are only collectively exhaustive. कैसे? If I say a number divisible, if I say let's say prime number, an event is a prime number and the event is let's say a not prime number. नहीं समझा नहीं आया. Take another example. Let's say event E1. Event 1 is numbers divisible by 3. E2. Numbers divisible by 2. E3. Numbers prime numbers. So tell me, numbers divisible by 3 will be how many? ये हर एक experiment के respect में है. I'm taking the experiment of rolling a die. So what are the numbers divisible by 3, guys?
3 and 6.
3 and 6. The numbers divisible by 2 will be
2, 4, 6.
2, 4, 6. The prime numbers will be
1 and 3.
1 is not a prime number.
Okay.
2,
So
3,
2, 3, 5.
5.
Sorry.
And let's take event 4 to be the number 1. Now if I add E1, E2, E3 and E4, what do I get? I have 1 in them. Yes, E4 has. 2 is in E2 and E3. 3 is in E1 and E3. 4 is in E2. 5 is in E3 and 6 is in E1 and E2. Can I say together they have completed the sample space? Yes, which means they are collectively exhaustive. They have completed the sample space. Are we clear with this? But even E2, E3, E4 are not what? Mutually exclusive. But if we talk about, let's say, E1 and E4, anything common between them? No, nothing is common, right? Which means they are mutually exclusive. Nothing is common. No element is common between these two sets. They are basically mutually exclusive events. Are we clear with this? This is probably the most important slide in probability. The definitions and understanding of those. Can we go ahead?
So 1 minute.
What about independent events?
अभी अलग से बात करेंगे उनके बारे में. As the name suggests, if A and B are independent, A हो या ना हो, B की probability change नहीं करेगी. B हो या ना हो, A की probability change नहीं करेगी because they are independent of each other. बस इतना अभी के लिए याद रखना है, is okay. ठीक है?
सर फिर म्यूचुअली एक्सक्लूसिव और इंडिपेंडेंट में क्या डिफरेंस होगा?
बात करेंगे. म्यूचुअली एक्सक्लूसिव है जिनके बीच में कुछ कॉमन नहीं है, राइट? और इंडिपेंडेंट क्या है कि A होगा तो B नहीं, B की प्रोबेबिलिटी अफेक्ट नहीं होगी, और B होगा तो A की प्रोबेबिलिटी अफेक्ट नहीं होगी. तो डेफिनेशन में तो डिफरेंस आ ही रहा है. एक्चुअली में क्या होता है वो भी देख लेते हैं. अब मुझे ये बता दो, if I roll a die, the sample space will be this, right? If I define E4, let's say E9 to be 2, 4, ठीक है? And if I define E5 to be 1, 3, tell me, what is the probability of E9 happening? What is the probability of E9?
Sir, 1/3.
2/6 कहते हैं अभी के लिए, ठीक है? अभी सॉल्व नहीं करते.
Yes.
2/6 because I have two items from the sample space which can occur equally likely. What is the probability of, let's say, E5?
2/6.
2/6 again. ठीक है? Now I have additional information. What is the information? The number that appeared is from E9, which means I know for sure that the answer is either 2, 4. It's either 2 or 4. Make sense? It appeared from E9. So what is the probability of E5 now happening? What is the probability of E5?
0.
0. E5 मतलब 1 या 3 आए. जब मुझे ऑलरेडी पता है कि E4 E9 हो चुका है, which is 2 या 4 आ चुका है, तो 1 और 3 के आने की probability 0 है. Can I say the probability of E5 got affected when I knew that E9 had happened? Which means E9 and E5 are not independent. E9 के होने से E5 की probability change हो रही है.
Sir, I'm not able to understand.
अगर मैं कहूं कि जो मैंने रोल किया डाई, ठीक है, लेट्स से आई हैव डन इट, आई एम नॉट शोइंग यू व्हाट हैपेंड. मैंने डाई का रोल कर दिया और जो नंबर आया मैंने तुम्हें ये बता दिया कि वो 2 या 4 में से कोई एक है. अगर मैंने ऐसा कहा तो E5 के होने की प्रोबेबिलिटी क्या है? ये क्या प्रोबेबिलिटी है कि 1 या 3 आया हो? 0, क्योंकि मैंने बता दिया 2 या 4 में से कोई आया है. तो E9 की पहले प्रोबेबिलिटी, E5 की पहले प्रोबेबिलिटी तो 2/6 थी, 1/3 1/3 थी, लेकिन अब कितनी हो गई है? 0. We call this probability of E5 given E9. Given ये स्लैश मतलब given. It is given कि E9 तो हो ही चुका है for sure. उसके बाद E5 की probability क्या है? Got it? So if it is given that E9 has happened, then E5 के होने की probability is 0. It cannot happen. But वैसे E5 की probability was 2/6. Since E5 की probability has changed, when I told you E9 has happened, E5 and E9 are not independent of each other. E9 के होने से E5 की probability change हो रही है. Are you getting it? Independent मतलब दूसरे event को कुछ भी हो, मेरे event की probability change नहीं हो रही, but इस case में change हो रही है, and hence they are not independent. As you will see, E5 और E9 में कुछ भी कॉमन नहीं है, राइट? कुछ भी कॉमन नहीं है, कोई भी एलिमेंट कॉमन नहीं है E5 E9 में. So they are definitely mutually exclusive, but as you can see, they are not independent. Clear? So there is a difference between mutually exclusive and independent events. इसको bold में कहीं लिख लो, because this is a great loophole in which people can fall into. E5/E9 means the probability of E5 happening if E9 has happened, correct? Since E9 has happened, can I say कि पहले मुझे लगता था 1 2 3 4 5 या 6 में से कुछ एक आएगा, लेकिन क्योंकि तुमने बता दिया है कि E9 हो चुका है, तो अब सिर्फ 2 या 4 में से कुछ आना है. अग्रीड? मेरा सैंपल स्पेस चेंज हो गया? चेंज हो गया? So whenever it is given to me, if you are given a set, then sample space changes. इस केस में सैंपल स्पेस क्या बन गया? अब बन गया सिर्फ 2 या 4. अग्रीड? उस 2 या 4 में से 1 या 3 के आने की प्रोबेबिलिटी क्या है? 0 out of these two. So the answer is 0/2. If this set had been, if E5 had been 1, 2, could I have said कि अगर E9 हुआ है तो I have only 2 options, या तो 2 आया होगा या 4 आया होगा. That is my sample space. उसमें से E5 के होने की प्रोबेबिलिटी क्या है? Well, 1 तो डेफिनेटली नहीं आया होगा, 2 आ सकता है. So इन दोनों में से there is one possibility which will be in my numerator divided by the 2 possibilities in E9. So the answer is 50%. There's a 50% chance कि E5 में से कोई एक इंसान हुआ हो. So what is E5 upon E9? It is the probability that E5 happened as well as E9 happened divided by the probability of E9. Does this make sense? Why I'm dividing by probability of E9? Because now sample space changes. अब E9 के जो options थे वो मेरी sample space बन चुकी है. उसमें से हमें देखना है E5 हुआ है या नहीं हुआ है. E5 कब होगा? जब E5 और E9 दोनों हो, क्योंकि हमें पता है E9 तो हो चुका है. Does this make sense? So this is something that you need to remember, that I'll write it down separately. Probability A given B is nothing but probability A and B divided by probability of B. This is the denominator, which is the new sample space कि B हो चुका है. Probability A भी हुआ हो is A and B. Are we clear with this? Are we clear with this?
सर जैसे अभी हमारा सैंपल स्पेस चेंज हुआ और वो 1/2 की हमारी प्रोबेबिलिटी आ गई उसमें, तो सर फिर ये E9 और E5 हमारे कलेक्टिवली एग्जॉस्टिव हो गए क्या?
कलेक्टिवली एग्जॉस्टिव तब होंगे जब इन दोनों को मिला के सैंपल स्पेस बन जाएगा. यही है ना यही है ना डेफिनेशन.
अच्छा.
Events together complete the sample space. तो इन अगर E5 और E9 को मिला दे तो हमारे पास क्या रहा है 1, 2 and 4, पर सैंपल स्पेस में और भी लोग हैं, तो ये कलेक्टिवली एग्जॉस्टिव तो नहीं है।
सर फिर ये क्या है?
ये है ना इवेंट्स दैट हैव नथिंग इन कॉमन, 7th नंबर। सॉरी, इसमें
सर
तो 2
2
कॉमन
कॉमन
है,
है।
2
हाँ।
कॉमन, तो म्यूचुअल एक्सक्लूसिव भी नहीं है, लेकिन और ये इंडिपेंडेंट भी नहीं है, ये डिपेंडेंट
अच्छा।
इवेंट्स हैं।
हम्म।
ठीक है, तो इंडिपेंडेंसी के लिए मैं ये बात आगे बढ़ाना चाह रहा हूं that if probability of A given B is simply probability A and B upon probability B, right? Probability of सिर्फ A क्या होती? Probability A upon probability of sample space. Yes. Now, if I want these two people to be independent, इसको probability of A बोलते हैं ना, probability of sample space तो 1 ही होती है, doesn't matter. तो if I want P, if okay, I'll write this down. If A and B are to be independent, then probability of A should not get affected by the occurrence of B, the occurrence of event B. Can I say that? ये तो independent C का effect, which means probability of A should be equal to probability of A when B is given to. ये दोनों लोग equal होने चाहिए, तभी A and B are independent events. Clear? What is probability of A given B? That is probability A and B divided by probability B. तो यहां से क्या आ रहा है, वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग कहानी, probability A and B will be equal to probability A into probability B. This is the single most important factor in determining whether A and B are independent or not. What is the factor? That probability A and B should be the product of individual probabilities of A and B. Are we clear? लिख लो, और इंपॉर्टेंट कहानी। एक्चुअली शीट पे हमने ऑलमोस्ट 80% प्रोबेबिलिटी कहानी कर ली है, सो इफ यू वांट यू कैन टेक अ स्क्रीनशॉट, बट रिमेंबर एवरीथिंग वी टॉक्ड अबाउट ऑन दिस स्लाइड.
Sir, can you please repeat the last part that you said?
Which one?
Sir, that PA equals to PA and B upon PB.
So if A and B are to be independent, probability of A should not get affected by the occurrence of B, and hence probability of A should be equal to probability of A even when B is given. If B is given, तो भी probability of A सेम रहनी चाहिए जब probability of A इंडिविजुअली निकालो, तभी वो इंडिपेंडेंट होगा. नहीं तो B के होने से A की probability चेंज हो जाएगी, ये probability अलग हो जाएगी इससे, तो वो इंडिपेंडेंट नहीं होंगे, डिपेंडेंट हो जाएंगे. ठीक है, ठीक है.
Yes, sir.
There is another way in which you could represent sample space and events and all of these, which is called a Venn diagram. A Venn diagram basically tells you how the events can be represented in a diagram format. If you say something like either A or B, you are saying ya to A ya B, right? It looks something like it's called A union B. ये जो U है means union. Ulta U means intersection, both A and B. So if you have to remember, or means union and means intersection, and means इन दोनों के बीच में कुछ common, और means सबको ले दो. ठीक है, probability A given B क्या थी? A and B, वो ये इंटरसेक्शन वाली कहानी थी, ठीक है। इसको we call it union, here we call it intersection, ठीक है। नॉट ए मीन्स ए बार कह लो, ए डैश या ए कॉम्प्लीमेंट, सब कहानी नॉट ए है, मतलब ए के बाहर कुछ भी। अगर ए को मैं कहूं, इफ आई से द सैंपल स्पेस इज 1 2 3 4 5 6, ठीक है, एंड ए इज 1 2 3, सो नॉट ए मतलब 1 2 3 4 5 6 में से 1 2 3 हटा दो, व्हाट डू वी हैव, 4 5 and 6 will be not a. Are we clear with this? Diagrammatically, they are represented in this manner. If you have blue circle represented A and B circle represented as, green circle represented as B, then A or B means या तो A या B. ये सारा selected red color का region is A or B. But दोनों ही चाहिए, मतलब जो भी इनमें common है सिर्फ उनकी बातें चल रही हैं, तो this selected region is A and B और intersection. जब नॉट ए की बात करोगे तो यू विल से दैट ये ब्लू सर्कल में कुछ नहीं, उसके बाहर कुछ भी, एंड मैंने से ए पर बी नहीं, तो उसमें ये वाला पार्ट नहीं लेंगे, वो ए में से हटा देंगे. द सिलेक्टेड रीजन, द डायग्राम एज बिलो, इज बेसिकली ए बट नॉट बी. Are we clear with all of these?
एक बार इधर ए और बी का बता देंगे वो डायग्राम वाला.
Either A or B means
First
या
one,
तो
yes.
A. Let me draw this. या तो A कह सकता हूं, ये सिर्फ A है, this is only A. This yellow part is only A, इसमें B नहीं है बिल्कुल भी. This new yellow part is only B, इसमें A नहीं है बिल्कुल भी.
Yes.
And this final part is A and B, इसमें A भी है और B भी है. कह सकता हूं इस पूरी कहानी में या तो सिर्फ A है या सिर्फ B है या A और B दोनों है. तो इसमें इसलिए इसमें या तो A है या B है या फिर दोनों है. इस केस में हम सिर्फ दोनों की बातें करते हैं, जब दोनों हो सिर्फ वही वाली कहानी. ये डिफरेंस है ए और बी और ए एंड बी में. आर वी क्लियर गाइस? आगे चलें. सी देखो, ए बार मतलब नॉट ए, नॉट ए. तो अगर ए के होने के चांसेस है 30%, तो नॉट ए के होने के चांसेस क्या होंगे?
20%.
70%. 100 में से माइनस हो जाएगा. तो प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ नॉट ए इज नथिंग बट 1 माइनस प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ ए. क्यों? क्योंकि ए और ए डैश आर म्यूचुअली एक्सक्लूसिव इवेंट्स, आपस में कुछ कॉमन नहीं है. कलेक्टिवली एग्जॉस्टिव ऑल्सो, दोनों मिलके सैंपल स्पेस बना देंगे. तो अगर ए और ए डैश मिलके सैंपल स्पेस बना रहे हैं, तो प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ ए प्लस प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ ए बार विल बी प्रोबेबिलिटी सैंपल स्पेस. सैंपल स्पेस के होने के चांसेस कितने हैं? उसमें से कुछ ना कुछ तो होगा ही. कोई भी इवेंट ले लो, उनमें से कुछ ना कुछ, इफ यू रोल अ डाई 1 2 3 4 5 6 में से कोई ना कोई तो आएगा ही आएगा. तो इट्स अ श्योर इवेंट की सैंपल स्पेस में से कुछ ना कुछ तो होगा. सो द प्रोबेबिलिटी इज 1. So the sum of probability of A and not A is 1. Very logical. If you have to talk about A union B, what is union B? कि या तो सिर्फ A या सिर्फ B या A और A and B, right? If I say probability of A, I am talking about the whole white region. Think about this, right? उसमें if I'm adding B, I'm talking about the whole red region, yes. But इस केस में मैंने ये जो कॉमन रीजन था 2 बार ऐड कर लिया. ए में भी और बी में भी, तो एक बार हटाना पड़ेगा, एंड दैट इज द लॉजिक बिहाइंड दिस फॉर्मूला. वी विल जनरली गो बाय द लॉजिक एंड हेंस नॉट टॉक अबाउट अगर 3 लोग होते तो क्या होता. बहुत ही सिंपल है और ग्राफ बना के तुम्हें बहुत इजीली समझ में आ जाएगा. कंडीशनल प्रोबेबिलिटी की हम बात कर चुके हैं. प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ ए गिवन बी इज नथिंग बट प्रोबेबिलिटी ए एंड बी विच इज नथिंग बट intersection B given probability B because the sample space changes to B, because I know that B has definitely happened. Are we clear on this idea? Yes, no, maybe कुछ तो करो. So probability A intersection B क्या है? B into P A B और उसकी ये हो जाएगी. तो basically हमने बात कर लिया that independent events के लिए if two events are independent, what do we need? We need that उनके intersection की probability should be उन दोनों के probability का product, right? Probability of A and B, which is probability of A intersection B, should be equal to probability of A multiplied by probability of B. That's the only definition for independent events. Are we clear? Are we good? Let's try this question.
क्या लिखा है? Card drawn is black.
Heart.
Card, what is probably the card drawn is a heart, given that it's a king.
1/4.
हाँ, कैसे किया?
Sir, we are already given that 4 king होते हैं. We already know that there are only 4 kings.
We are given that the card drawn is definitely a king.
A king. So 4
Since
total.
there are 4 kings, that becomes my sample space. Next sentence.
Yes, sir. Now we have to identify, like, sir, 4 ही group होते हैं ना उसमें, like 4 types of cards are there. So
And I want
heart.
कि वो heart हो. तो उन
Yeah.
चारों में से कितने heart होंगे? सिर्फ एक ही heart होगा, heart of the kings, king of the hearts. So that one card out of the new sample space 4 will be the answer 1/4. Clear? Alternatively, you could have used the mathematical formula, which is probability heart and king divided by probability of a king. वही होगा probability heart given. Remember, heart given king is heart and king among probability king, right? So what is probability heart and king? कितने हैं heart भी और king भी? एक ही इंसान, एक ही है ना. king of the hearts is one out of कितने kings हैं? 4. Or you could say the probability of getting a heart and a king is उन 52 कार्ड्स में से एक इंसान को चूज कर लो, डिवाइडेड बाय उन 52 कार्ड्स में से I will have, oh my bad, I'm not choosing one card. I'm saying probability that's a heart and a king. What is the probability? It is 1 upon those 52 cards. That is the probability, right? I divide this by, if I have a king, the probability of king is 4 out of those 52 cards. That also gets you to 1 by 4. So either by changing the sample space to 4, you will get this answer, or by not changing the sample space, talking to the original question, you will also get the same answer. Are we clear with this?
So, but the question is asking for a king with a heart, like heart king, whatever that is said. So it should be 1 by 52, no? From the pack of cards, there's only that one card.
Given that,
It's a king of hearts.
given that,
The card is drawn from a pack of the cards.
given that,
It is a king.
मतलब उन 52 कार्ड्स में से मैंने एक कार्ड निकाला, ठीक है? लिसन टू दिस, इट्स अ गेम, ठीक है? पूजा, हम दोनों खेल रहे हैं, मैंने उस 52 कार्ड्स में से एक कार्ड निकाला, आई एम लाइक, टेल मी, ये हार्ट ऑफ द किंग है क्या? टेल मी, क्या प्रोबेबिलिटी है तुम्हारा आंसर सही हो? वैसे तो 1 by 2 है, बट अगर मैं ये पूछूं कि ये कौन सा कार्ड है, तो इस कार्ड के, जो मेरे हाथ में है, जो मैंने रैंडमली निकाला, इस कार्ड को हार्ट ऑफ द किंग्स होने की कितनी प्रोबेबिलिटी है?
1 by 52.
1 by 52. पर अगर मैं ये कह दूं कि ये जो मैंने निकाला है, ठीक है, आई गिव यू सम हिंट, ये बेसिकली एक किंग है, ये मेरे हाथ में एक किंग है, अब बताओ कि ये हार्ट्स का है या नहीं? अब क्या प्रोबेबिलिटी है?
1 by 4.
1 by 4. I've given you additional, given means I've given you additional information which reduces the sample space and hence increases our probability of the right answer. Because
Okay.
you have more information about the scenario. Clear? तो वही यहाँ पे कहानी हो रही है, क्योंकि हमें पता है ऑलरेडी कि वो किंग है, हार्ट की होने की प्रोबेबिलिटी 1 by 4 ही होने वाली है, ठीक है? मैथमेटिकली ये आंसर है, ए है कार्ड ऑफ हार्ट, बी इज कार्ड किंग, प्रोबेबिलिटी ये है इनके इंडिविजुअली, ब्ला ब्ला ब्ला, ठीक है? पढ़ लो इनको, लॉजिकल सॉल्यूशन यही है इसका कि सैंपल स्पेस चेंज करो, आंसर बता दो, बट मैथमेटिकली क्या होते हैं उनकी भी जानकारी रखना इज इम्पोर्टेंट, इसलिए मैंने दोनों बातें कर दी हैं। अभी क्लियर विद दिस स्लाइड? चले आगे। ओके, सो इंडिपेंडेंट इवेंट्स क्या है कि अकरेंस ऑफ वन डज नॉट अफेक्ट द अकरेंस ऑफ अदर। तो अगर प्रोबेबिलिटी ए गिवन बी शुड बी ए, बी गिवन ए शुड बी बी, प्रोबेबिलिटी ए या बी की चेंज नहीं होनी चाहिए किसी के भी होने से, एंड हेंस ए गिवन बी क्या होता है? ए इंटरसेक्शन बी अपॉन पी बी। तो ए इंटरसेक्शन बी क्या होगा? पी ए इंटू पी बी, या बी इंटरसेक्शन है विल बी पी इंटू पी बी, वही जो हमने बात की थी, ठीक है? ये देखो, ये पढ़ो जरा, मुझे बताओ आंसर क्या होगा?
सर इसमें क्वेश्चन क्या है सर इसमें?
A lady has 2 1 rupee coins and 2 5 rupee coins, 4 coins हैं, उनमें से एक रैंडमली एक कॉइन निकालती है एंड रिप्लेसेस इट बैक, फिर वो सेकंड कॉइन निकालती है। तो फर्स्ट कॉइन अगर 1 रुपी कॉइन है और सेकंड कॉइन भी 1 रुपी कॉइन है, तो क्या ए एंड बी आर इंडिपेंडेंट? ये है मेन क्वेश्चन। क्या
सर इंडिपेंडेंट
है या नहीं है, वही तो पूछ रहा है।
सर इंडिपेंडेंट है सर, दे आर इंडिपेंडेंट इवेंट्स।
कैसे?
सर आप रिप्लेस कर दे रहे हो, तो रिप्लेस करने से सैंपल साइज वापस सेम हो जाता है, सो नाउ दैट इट इज रिप्लेस्ड, तो इंडिपेंडेंट ही है सर।
करेक्ट, कह सकते हो। एक तो ये लॉजिकल, बिल्कुल लॉजिकल कहानी है ये। अगर आपने वापस रख दिया सैंपल से स्पेन हो गया, सेम हो गया, तो इंडिपेंडेंट ही है, फर्क नहीं पड़ता पहले क्या निकाला था, क्योंकि वापस डाल दिया है। दूसरी कहानी, इंडिपेंडेंट होने के लिए इन दोनों की इंडिविजुअल प्रोबेबिलिटी का प्रोडक्ट इन दोनों के होने की प्रोबेबिलिटी इक्वल होना चाहिए, राइट? तो प्रोबेबिलिटी की फर्स्ट कॉइन रुपी 1 कॉइन हो इज 2/4, 4 में से कोई भी वो 2 रुपए 1 रुपए वाला कॉइन, या फिर 1 रुपए वाला कॉइन हो, सेकंड केस में वही 1/2, इन दोनों का प्रोडक्ट कितना है 1/4। प्रोबेबिलिटी की ये दोनों हो जाएं इज ऑल्सो 1/2 into 1/2 1/4, तो वो भी दोनों के इक्वल आ रहा है, एंड हेंस दीज आर इंडिपेंडेंट इवेंट्स। वेरी 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 इंपॉर्टेंट कहानी इज दैट डिसजॉइंट इवेंट्स क्या होते हैं? म्यूचुअली एक्सक्लूसिव, उनको डिसजॉइंट भी कहते हैं, लिख लो वहीं पे। म्यूचुअली एक्सक्लूसिव आर नथिंग बट डिसजॉइंट इवेंट्स, आपस में कुछ जॉइनिंग ही नहीं है, डिसजॉइंट, कुछ कॉमन नहीं है उनके। तो अगर ए एंड बी आर डिसजॉइंट, कहना चाहिए इन दोनों के बीच में कुछ कॉमन नहीं है। दिख रहा है डायग्राम, ए और बी के बीच में कुछ कॉमन नहीं है। तो अगर ए हुआ तो क्या बी हो सकता है? इफ ए हैज हैपेंड, ग्रीन के अंदर वाला कुछ भी हो सकता है, बी तो डेफिनेटली डिड नॉट हैपन। समझ में आ रही बात? लेकिन बी के होने की प्रोबेबिलिटी ओरिजिनली तो कुछ तो होगी, लेकिन अब वो 0 हो गई। मतलब अगर ये डिसजॉइंट हैं तो ये डेफिनेटली डिपेंडेंट ऑन ईच अदर हैं। डिसजॉइंट लोग कैन नेवर बी डिपेंडेंट, सॉरी इंडिपेंडेंट। डिसजॉइंट लोग विल ऑलवेज बी डिपेंडेंट। अगर ए हुआ तो बी नहीं हो सकता, बी हुआ तो ए नहीं हो सकता, बट इंडिपेंडेंटली और ए और बी हो सकते थे। डिपेंडेंटली एक हुआ तो दूसरा नहीं होगा। अभी क्लियर? ठीक है, तो कुछ सवाल करते हैं इन प्रोबेबिलिटी। ट्राई दिस क्वेश्चन, लेट मी नो योर आंसर्स इन द प्राइवेट चैट। Which of the following is more likely? बताओ। बोथ आर इक्वली लाइकली आ रहा है सबका, लिप्सा का अलग आंसर है, सेम क्वेश्चन मार्क। तो क्वेश्चन मार्क नहीं चाहिए, मतलब पुट योर बेट ऑन सम आंसर।
सब मोर लाइकली बोले हैं तो
इसीलिए कंटिन्यू।
इसलिए मैंने एक चूज किया। अगर आप बोलते कि which of the followings can be the outcomes, so तुम मैं दोनों
Who do
में
you,
से
I'll change the question. Who do you love more, your mom or your dad?
both।
आ रहा ना एक आंसर।
तो ऑप्शन में भी होना चाहिए, अब तो
सेम है,
ऑप्शन में नहीं
सेम
दिया
है, कहानी सेम है, सेम है। इन दोनों में से कौन सा मोर लाइकली है? यू कैन से कि नहीं ये इक्वली लाइकली है, या फिर ये ज्यादा लाइकली है वो ज्यादा लाइकली, ये सब आंसर हो सकता है ना अलग अलग।
Yes, sir.
बस
सर मैं तो बोलूंगा तो दोनों ही इक्वली लाइकली।
क्यों?
सर तो क्या बोलते हैं, हेड जाने का भी इक्वल चांस है सर, और टेल जाने का भी इक्वल चांस है, 1/2 1/2। तो मल्टीप्लाई
As
करो।
the, सही है भाई, देखो, as the first, after the first toss, हेड आने की प्रोबेबिलिटी 1/2, सेकेंड टॉस में हेड आने की अगेन 1/2, थर्ड में भी 1/2 एंड सो ऑन। क्या मैं कह सकता हूं पहले वाले आंसर क्या है? 1/2 multiplied by 1/2, how many times?
10 times.
यही
10
आंसर रहेगा
times.
प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ फर्स्ट इवेंट जो मैंने दिया हुआ है, यही आंसर। अच्छा, प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ सेकंड इवेंट निकालते हैं। पहले चांस पे हेड आने की प्रोबेबिलिटी 1/2, सेकंड टॉस पे टेल आने की प्रोबेबिलिटी 1/2, फिर टेल आने की प्रोबेबिलिटी 1/2, अगेन इसमें 1/2 मल्टीप्लाई हो रहे हैं कितनी बार? 10 टाइम्स। दिख रहा है दोनों की प्रोबेबिलिटी इज द सेम। हमें फील ऐसा हो रहा है कि सारे हेड कैसे आ सकते हैं, 10 बार टॉस किया, कहीं तो अलग अलग आएगा, वो फील ऐसा हो रहा है, बट मैथमेटिकली इन दोनों चीजों के होने की प्रोबेबिलिटी सेम है। Are you getting it? Next, read this properly and try the answers to these questions.
सर ये 4 अलग क्वेश्चन है ना सर? ओके सर।
What is the probability that student has their ears pierced?
So 324 by 500.
किस किस के पियर्स हैं? इतने मेल के पियर्स हैं,
324
टोटल 324 के पियर्स है आउट ऑफ 500. सो प्रोबेबिलिटी पियर्स होंगे विल बी 324 by 500. सिंपल. अच्छा, व्हाट इज द प्रोबेबिलिटी स्टूडेंट इज मेल? टोटल 180 मेल है आउट ऑफ 500, सो द प्रोबेबिलिटी इज 180 by 500. सिंपल. व्हाट इज प्रोबेबिलिटी स्टूडेंट इज मेल एंड हैज द ईयर पियर्स, मतलब दोनों चीजें होनी चाहिए, मेल भी होना चाहिए और पियर्स भी होना चाहिए. कितने लोग हैं? ओनली 36 out of total 500, so the probability is 36 by 500. Given the student was chosen as a male, मतलब क्या मैं कह सकता हूँ, मैं my sample space has changed to only 180 people now. अब इन्हीं में से बात चल रही है, इनमें से कितने लोगों के पियर्स हैं? 36 लोगों के. So the probability will be 36 upon this new sample space is 180. So the probability will be 36 upon 180. Are we clear? ठीक है, इसमें किसी को डाउट? Okay, let's try this. हाँ जी, कैसे करेंगे इसको सॉल्व? 1/12 1/12 ये आंसर आ रहे हैं. उत्कर्ष
Yes, sir.
हाँ भाई कैसे किया?
So out of 4 cards, we're
नहीं इंटरनेट
picking one, so
कनेक्शन बहुत
1
वीक,
by 4.
इंटरनेट कनेक्शन बहुत वीक है, नहीं सुन रहा। अनुभव कैसे किया? म्यूटेड है भाई, म्यूटेड। मैं तो कहता हूँ अनम्यूट करके रखा करो हर टाइम, बोलते रहो कुछ, मैं कर दूंगा म्यूट, आई हैव दैट पावर, ओके आई कैन म्यूट यू। तुम अनम्यूट करके रखो ना यार, क्या दिक्कत है?
वो स्पेस बार नहीं चल रहा था सर।
हाँ क्या हुआ बताओ?
सर वो पहले क्लब निकालने की 1/4, फिर बिना रिप्लेस किए डायमंड की बची 1/3।
सही है, तो ये कह रहा है कि हमें 2 कार्ड्स निकालने हैं, 1 and 2। फर्स्ट कार्ड पिकिंग द क्लब एंड अ डायमंड, तो पहला एक क्लब होना चाहिए। कितने क्लब्स होते हैं टोटल? 13 out of 52। Can I say this is the probability of choosing the club as the first card? ठीक है guys, फिर क्या करना है? I have to choose a diamond। डायमंड कितने हैं? 13 out of
52 minus 13
51। क्यों? एक ही तो कार्ड चूज किया था फर्स्ट प्लेस के लिए। अब बचे तो 51। Since I want both these things to happen, I'll multiply them। Clear?
हाँ सर, हम 52 51 क्यों ले रहे हैं? यहाँ पे तो लिखा है 4 रैंडम कार्ड्स में से हम ले रहे हैं, और एक उसमें एक क्लब है, एक डायमंड है, एक हार्ट है,
Suppose
एक
you pick
स्पेड है।
2 cards at random from 4 cards consisting of one of each suit without replacing। She is very correct। मैंने ढंग से पढ़ा नहीं था। So I have 4 cards only, और चारों कार्ड्स अलग सूट के, right? Probability of taking the club will be वो एक क्लब जो इन 4 में से है, is the probability of choosing a club। yes। बचे 3 कार्ड्स, उनमें से डायमंड कौन सा होगा? कोई एक उन 3 में से, एंड दैट विल बी 1/1। करेक्ट, ये सही आंसर। ठीक है, दूसरी कहानी ये हो सकती है क्या? आई हैव 4 कार्ड्स, ways of arranging 4 cards in 2 places are how many? 4 cards in 2 places। कितने तरीके हैं? 4 फैक्टोरियल। सबसे पहले 4 लोग, उनमें से 2 लोगों का अरेंजमेंट डज नॉट मैटर, क्योंकि वो उन 2 प्लेसेस में नहीं है, और उन 2 प्लेसेस में जो भी 2 लोग हैं उनकी अरेंजमेंट रियली मैटर करती है। So these are the number of ways of arranging 4 cards in 2 places। This will basically become my denominator, the number of ways in which I can do this। Make sense? What will be the numerator? The ways in which I want things to happen, a club or for diamond, right? In how many ways can I put a club पहले और a diamond बाद में, जब मेरे पास ये एक ही लोग हों? तो there is only one way in filling the first seat, वो club उठा के रख दो। There is only one way in filling the diamond seat, वो diamond उठा के रख दो। So what is the probability? It is that numerator upon that denominator, which will be 1 upon 4 factorial 2 factorial, which is 4 into 3. That also gives you the same answer, 1/12। Are we clear with these 2 ways? Any questions, anyone? किस-किसको समझ में नहीं आया ये? बोलता कोई नहीं है, होंगे कुछ लोग अभी भी। Okay, let's try this। Actually, let us not। इसको बात करने के भी टाइम नहीं है हमारे पास। नेक्स्ट क्लास में हम प्रोबेबिलिटी की बात करेंगे विद रिस्पेक्ट टू बेयस थ्योरम। बेयस थ्योरम काफी इंपॉर्टेंट थ्योरम है, प्रोबेबिलिटी में वेरी हाईली यूज होता है। ऑल्दो वी हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट कंडीशनल प्रोबेबिलिटी, राइट? ए हुआ तो बी की प्रोबेबिलिटी को क्या इफेक्ट होगा, अगर कुछ इफेक्ट नहीं होता है तो B is independent of A. If B is independent of A, A will be independent of B. क्योंकि फॉर्मूला ही वही है. B A given B, B A and B is multiplication of probability A and probability B. है ना? है ना? तो नेक्स्ट क्लास में हम ये रिविजन करेंगे थोड़ा सा और बेस थ्योरम पढ़ेंगे. दैट्स ऑल इन द फर्स्ट 40-45 मिनट्स एंड देन we'll do revision of everything that we studied. तो इसीलिए try all the questions that you can this week. Bring in your doubts. I'll take your doubts first before talking about anything new. So I want that to be taken out of the way before anything new is added to your brain. ठीक है? But this can only happen if you have studied well. तो ऐसा मत करना, मैं सीरियसली बता रहा हूँ. जो इस हफ्ते प्रैक्टिस नहीं करेगा उसका ये टॉपिक थोड़ा वीक हो सकता है, वेरी ऑनेस्ट, और ऐसा होता है. So make sure that you're practicing both counting and probability and come prepared in the next class with either your doubts related to theory or your doubts related to any questions that you might have. ठीक है?
सर एक चीज बस.
हाँ जतिन.
सर आज सर आधी घंटा थोड़ा लेट आया सर, एक बाहर गया था थोड़ा सर. तो रिकॉर्डिंग आ सकती है?
इसकी रिकॉर्डिंग अवेलेबल हो जाएगी, 1 या 2 दिन में अवेलेबल हो जाएगी और मैं उनको बता दूंगा जतिन को देखना है तो they'll give you.
ओके सर.
नॉन वीडियो पार्टिसिपेंट्स को मैं अलाउ नहीं करता वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग भी देखने के लिए.
ओके सर.
वेरी रिजिड दैट वे एंड यू शुड. इफ यू अटेंडेड हियर, तुमने उनसे बात की, मतलब तुम्हारा काम हो जाएगा. यू नॉट बी लेफ्ट हैंगिंग बट अदर्स विल बी लेफ्ट हैंगिंग. आई विल मेक श्योर दैट. वेरी
particular.
There was no. There was a very negative word for these professors I used to call. मेरे भी engineering में थे ना यार, saddest, very saddest people. But I'm not actually like that because मैं starting में सब clear कर देता हूँ. It's not like you don't know about this. But anyway, थोड़ा सा हाँ, मतलब I'm very rigid about these things. ठीक है जतिन, मिल जाएगा, मैं बोल दूंगा उनको. ठीक है, चलो.
Thank you sir.
Okay guys, all right, bye.